Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. In the previous lessons, we went through some of the chapters of Kitab al-Salah. Inshallah, today we'll be going through three chapters in Kitab al-Salah. They're quite short. However, their masail are important. The first is Babu Salatil Kusufi wal Khusuf. Okay? Kusuf with the kaf. Okay, kaf. This is seen. Waw and fa. This refers to a solar eclipse, okay? So during the day, the sun is blocked out by the moon, either fully or partially, okay? This is a solar eclipse. And then you've got khusuf with a kha, okay? Kha, and then sin, waw, and then fa. And this is a lunar eclipse. And that's when the moon is blocked. And that usually occurs during the night or during dark. So remember that kusuf with a kaf and khusuf with a kha. When it comes to an eclipse, it's one of the signs of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. As mentioned in some ahadith, the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam says, it's a sign of Allah that He causes the people to turn back to Him. It's a sign that should actually cause the people distress and to fear. And as we know, one of the signs, in fact, one of the major signs of the Day of Judgment is when the sun will come out and then it will rise from the west, and that will happen once. So it's feared that during an eclipse, maybe the sun will go the other way. It's recommended and it's mashru' for the people to perform salah. When it comes to number one, salatul kusuf, the solar eclipse. Okay? And this is again in the Hanafi madhab. I'll tell you the other madhab. How does a person perform salatul kusuf? They mention that it's 2 rak'ah. Okay? Just 2 units of prayer. Now, in the Hanafi madhab, you'll find that as they're telling you about these 2 units of prayer, they'll specifically tell you that it's a normal 2 units of prayer. Each rak'ah has 1 ruku' like normal. Okay? In some of the other madhahib, each rak'ah in the eclipse salah can have 2 rukus, and some go as far as 3 rukus. So you'll find that they'll be performing salah. Then the Imam will say Allahu Akbar after he's recited, he'll go down in ruku', and then he'll get up, Sami Allahu liman hamida, and then he'll start reciting again. And then he'll go down after he's finished reciting, go down in ruku' again. So this is, according to the other some of the other madhahib, the only salah where you get 2 rukus, and in some riwayat 3 rukus. The Hanafi madhab, they stick to 1 ruku' throughout. Here it's recommended for the people to gather and perform salah with the imam. Okay, and it's recommended for him to recite long surahs, or as long as the eclipse lasts. So sometimes you find the eclipse lasting for 20 minutes, 30 minutes, an hour, 2 hours at times. It's recommended for the imam to read a lengthy portion so that his salah covers that of the eclipse. Okay, so they say that 2 units of prayer, the imam recites whatever he wants to recite, there's no problem. During the salah, he recites loudly. And remember, the salatul kusuf will occur during the day. Okay, it will be daytime. However, the sun or the light will be blocked. So here, this salatul kusuf, even though it's in the daytime, it will be recited loudly, similar to salatul Eid or similar to salatul Jumu'ah. Thereafter, they mention that if he had to finish early, he can make, let's say the eclipse is still going on, he can make a dua. If there's no imam or the people are unable to gather, it's recommended, highly recommended for them to perform salah alone in their houses, as this is a sign from the signs of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. As for salatul khusuf, Okay, the lunar eclipse. Hanafi madhab, they mentioned that there's no jama'ah for it. Okay, so it's not recommended for the people to gather to perform this salah. However, if they do, there's no problem. Okay, if they do, there's no problem. And important to note also when it comes to the solar eclipse salah as well as the lunar eclipse salah, it's just the salah with the recitation. As for any khutbah after them, there's no khutbah after them. Okay, there's no khutbah after them, and it rarely occurs, maybe once or twice a year. That's why there's very few ahkam mentioned with it. So again, not compulsory, but highly recommended for a person to perform the salah if he can in jama'ah, kusuf. If not, they should read alone. Okay. Thereafter, the next chapter is that of istisqa. Istisqa is to seek rain. Okay, so alif, this is a sin here, ta, sin again, qaf, alif, and hamza. To seek rain from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Imam Abu Hanifa, rahimahullah, in the Hanafi madhab, he is of the opinion that there's no salah recommended for seeking rain. Rather, according to him, istisqa is where the people make dua and ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for rain. And he says that if they had to perform salah alone, then there's no harm. So notice how, according to him, the people don't gather for salatul istisqa. As for the other two imams in the madhab, Imam Abu Yusuf and Imam Muhammad ibn al-Hasan, as well as the other madhahib, they say that the people gather for Salatul Istisqa. They perform this Istisqa in Jama'ah or in congregation. Again, what is it? It's 2 raka'at, 2 units of prayer. Okay. And after the Salah, there is a khutbah, okay, that the Imam gives. There's a khutbah that the Imam gives. As mentioned in some hadith, that one of the reasons for rain being prevented is due to the sin of the people, due to the people having sin. And it's recommended for them to come out. It's recommended for them to, before the salah, to seek Allah's forgiveness and to come out in a state of humbleness and humility. And they mention that it's also recommended for the people to come out with their children, and some even mention coming out with the animals. Why? Because when rain is prevented or when water is prevented, every living thing suffers. So they come out, they perform 2 rak'at of salah with the imam. After that, the imam gives a khutbah. After the khutbah, the imam, he faces, in fact, during the khutbah, the imam makes a dua, general dua for rain, reminds the people to seek forgiveness from Allah, reminds the people that if there's any oppression amongst one another, they should forgive one another and make amends. And in it, it's mentioned that he tells the people at the end to turn over their garment. Now, in the Hanafi madhab, only the imam turns over his garment, meaning, let's say he's wearing a scarf, for example, like this, he turns it upside down. Or if he's wearing a coat, he turns it inside out. And they mention one of the reasons for this is to show fa'al and to be optimistic that in the same way we've changed our appearance from one state to another, it's hoped that Allah will change our state from that of drought to that of prosperity. The Hanafi madhab, they say that only the imam turns over his garment. As for the other madhahib, they say the imam turns over the garment as well as the people listening to the khutbah. After the khutbah, he tells the people, everybody can face the qibla and make their own dua. Okay, so those are a few masail regarding Salatul Istisqa. After that, they briefly mention Qiyam in the month of Ramadan. We all know that it's recommended, okay, mustahab or sunnah, that a person performs Qiyamul Layl or has extra voluntary prayer in the month of Ramadan. It's mentioned that Umar radiallahu anhu gathered the people with one Imam in order to perform the Salah. According to most of the madhahib, you find that they mention 20 raka'at. Some of the madhahib are a little bit less. Some are even more than 20. So it's difference of opinion anywhere from 2 raka'at all the way up to 33 raka'at. Hanafi madhab, they are on 20 raka'at. And the Imam reads 2 raka'at, then there's a small rest, 2 raka'at, small rest, etc. And the reason they mention this is they want to touch on one or two rulings. One of them being that after Taraweeh Salah or Salatul Qiyam in the month of Ramadan, the Imam makes witr Salah in congregation with the people. Okay? The Imam makes witr Salah in congregation with the people. And then they tell you that as for making the witr Salah in congregation outside of the month of Ramadan, then it's not recommended. In fact, it's not mashru', not something that's supposed to be done. So a quick recap. We took Salatul Kusufi wal Khusuf, solar and lunar eclipse. We also took Salatul Istisqa, and we touched on some of the masail regarding Qiyam in the month of Ramadan. Inshallah, there's one or two more chapters left, and we will finish Kitabus Salah bi'idhnillah by the end of this week. So for those who are new here, I see a few new names. Inshallah, tomorrow we have a lesson, same time. And then Friday, we have a lesson, and inshallah, that will be our last lesson. We'll stop for about 3 weeks, inshallah. Any questions?